here I am, open to the world, and you need to be able to go, here's my pitch in a split second. And you've got to remember, there's maybe 6,000 people. And some of these shows can be 10,000 people. Imagine if you're one person, your first show, and you get like 10% of that 10,000 people, that's 1,000 people.
Thank you for joining the Free Time Mastermind podcast. I'm your host, Robert Gaines. We already know that trade show exhibitions can be a great way to get a large number of clients in a very short period of time. However, it's not for the faint of heart. They can be expensive and involve a lot of logistics. Maree Santarossa, trade show custom exhibition expert, walks us through the do's and the don'ts of exhibiting at trade shows. Here's Maree. Thank you for joining us. Where are you calling in from?
Hi, Robert. I'm calling in from a place called Lismore, northern New South Wales in Australia.
Now, I know that's on the East Coast. Is that right?
East Coast, yes. And it's close to a place called Byron Bay, where the Hemsworth boys live. I think Matt Damon has a house. There's a whole lot of celebrities down there.
Now, you had an interesting path, of course. Now you're in the planning for trade shows, exhibitions for exhibitors, but you also have had a career as a project manager. What drew you to that? How did that journey begin?
I started as a service coordinator in a maintenance company for signage in the late 90s for Claude Neon. They're an international company. And I used to manage the Sky signs in North Sydney, the Coca-Cola sign in King's Cross, and a lot of the major signage around New South Wales. So it was, I learned how to project manage in that role. So if we had a new Sky sign, I would actually, be part of that process to install that Sky sign. And that's where the building side of me was excited. I like building things. I like understanding plans, and I like making it look like the picture, if that makes sense. Went into custom stand building for a custom stand builder in Sydney. And the ad actually said, this is not an event planning job. You need to understand construction. And I'm like, that's the job for me. And I stayed with them a number of years. And I look back at my career, regardless of if it was project management or in customer service or any of those jobs that I had, there was always someone who would teach me, and I would listen, and I learned so much from. And I got set up by the best people in the industry into custom exhibition stands. And so I have moved from that company, and then I've contracted to other companies, and I've also had my own clients. So I basically build custom exhibition stands, but because I get involved with my clients a bit more than what other custom builders do, I help my clients right through from choosing a trade show to the best location, their marketing, and right through. And I pride myself in helping them do that.
And most of the places here, like I'm familiar. I did some consulting work with Signorama, which is a gigantic franchise here. Probably might have locations in Australia too, because they're huge here. But they just do the design of the booths. They do table covers. They could they can get you anything, but that's just it. They're doing just the logistical part of it. They're not into the planning part that you are. It seems too, though. Do you run into any issue because the thing that I saw Signorama have trouble with is especially a first time exhibitor that they're not coming from a design background. Let's say it's a home health care company, something that is far from design as you can think. And they're coming to you with a blank slate. So it's almost all on you. Is that, do you deal with that too, where you're having to come up with scratch designs and then have them decide?
Absolutely. So this is what I'm good at. And So what happens when I normally go to site for my bigger clients, I always have people come up to me and go, oh, she looks like she knows what she's doing. I'm going to ask her. And they come up and go, oh, can you tell me where I can get this? I'm like, yes, but you should have booked that before. This is going to cost you a fortune. Or what? Can you have a look at my stand? What do you think? I'm like, okay, you need to remove that, move this out, so you get a clearer view. And the last one was, can you help me with my graphics? This lady was crying. Can you help me with my graphics? I'm like, okay. I went and helped her with the graphics and pinned them up, and she was freaking out because it didn't marry up a little bit. And I'm like, it's a trade show. It's 3 days. That little bit marry up is not going to affect your sales. What's going to affect your sales is you. So
That's
let's
right.
get you sorted. Let's get you less stressed, and then you can sell. So I my thing at the moment is that I want to help the small people because exhibitions, trade shows, expos globally are so expensive now, and they're getting more expensive. And I see these little people, and I go, you spent 4, 5, 6 grand to be at that show, and you're not going to maximize your stand um, like what you've got at the moment. So I want to make sure that you are set up properly. And it starts from booking that show and picking the right booth and knowing how to talk to your organizer, knowing how to negotiate with your organizer. And that will set you up because you'll be a lot happier when you walk on site and go, oh, okay, I'm sorted. I don't have any stress. I can sell my product or service.
What is the number one reason people are going? I would think maybe for client acquisition and maybe secondarily network with people in the industry. But if somebody came to you and says, I'm not even sure about this trade show thing, how would you sell that concept that somebody absolutely needs to get out there and do that?
Okay, firstly, I would say you have to research trade shows. And the best thing to do is actually go to that trade show and have a look around and say, okay, well, I've got a few, there's competitors here, there's my clients here, there's potential clients here. Is it within my budget? Because it is expensive. That's what you need to start researching before you start signing on the dotted line. Okay. The biggest thing is that find out from your clients, your potential clients, if they actually go to the trade show, because that's what you're trying to do is get more leads. And to do that, you have to do it before you sign on the dotted line.
I try to put this into as many episodes as possible because I'm really trying to drive this point home. But you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Acquiring email addresses while
Mm-hmm.
you're there. How important is
Oh,
that?
very important. I tell you why. Because 80% of attendees at exhibitions, and if they're the right attendees and they're the right, your potential customers or even your own customers, if they're there, 80% are there to buy. 80%.
Oh,
And
wow.
guess what? Yeah. And guess what? Guess how many people actually follow up on those leads? This is worldwide, mind you. So I deal globally. At the moment, I've got a client of mine in Atlanta. I'm coaching him to do Triple Play, which is the real estate show at the moment. So this is worldwide. 20% only follow up. And we're talking corporates. We're talking big pharmaceutical companies. Why aren't these people following up? So if you're a little guy or girl, you need to get those email addresses and you
That's
need to
right.
follow up.
How do you, and for people that don't know, and this may, for people going into their first exhibition, they might not even understand how to do this. When you coach people how to entice attendees to give their email address, what are you recommending to them? Because I'll get into it later, but I notice you have a giveaway on your website, which is a great way for you to get emails. So you've already got that system in
Yep.
place. But for these exhibitors, are you encouraged? And I know it could be, we might be talking about product manufacturers or somebody software as a service, but what are you recommending to these people to be able to harvest these emails? Address a giveaway, just a sign up sheet? What are the most effective methods you're seeing?
The most effective method, first off, is to get them to your stand. And there's a couple of ways to do that. And one isn't to stand on your stand and look like you want people to come to you. I coach my clients to stand off the stand to speak to people. I coach my clients to be out in the crowd, to talk to people, bring them back to the stand. A sign up sheet is great. A QR code is great. Something that's really simple. Um, Normally, the lanyards have a QR code on for that particular person, that attendee. You can QR code and say, "Can I take a snapshot of, take the QR code and download your details?" There's a whole range of things. What you need to do is basically know your product really well, product and service really well, and you need to sell it to attendee. And that's the thing is, you can have the best stand in the world, you can have all the bells and whistles, but if you are not able to convey your message or your to sell your product or your service to somebody, then exhibitions won't work for you, because you've got it. It's face to face. There's no social media. There's, here I am, open to the world, and you need to be able to go, here's my pitch in a split second. And you've got to remember, there's maybe 6,000 people, and some of these shows can be 10,000 people. Imagine if you're one person, your first show, and you get like 10% of that 10,000 people, that's 1,000 people. So know your pitch, do simple things like sign up sheet, have an iPad or a tablet, a QR code, ask for their details. You'll find sometimes the show will have its own lead capture. It costs a lot of money. Find out, do a little bit of research, go find out and see if you can get something, you can hire something or create your own lead capture in Google Docs, instead of paying a lot of money for the organizer's lead capture.
On your site, you offer three primary services. So with, like, I'm telling you, like, you don't know, but
Yeah.
but one is you've got a course people can go
Yeah.
through, which of course is do it yourself, which is usually always the where you get the best cost savings. And then you've got coaching, which is done with you, DWY. And then of course you help with the exhibition, with the structure of the layout
Yeah.
itself. And I just wanted to point out that that is mentioned in chapter 12 in the book. I talk about, because my book is about how do you come up with the business idea. So we're at the
Yeah.
very, very front end. Like, you're
Mm.
you're in a dead end job, or you want to break away, you want to be an entrepreneur. Well, what am I going to do? Well, this book helps answer that question by
Yep.
helping them create. And then they're going to need you, because then they're going to start networking, they're going to start advertising. And some industries, it's good to get into this trade show game early. Um,
Yes.
so can you talk about certain clients and certain situations where it's good to get into that very quickly?
Okay, startups. If you're a start, especially in tech, okay, everyone loves a tech show. There's a tech show that goes around. I think it's called TechPo, and they're in every continent, and they do so many shows. And they will have a section for startups. So if another one is cosmetics or makeup, is huge, $1 billion industry. Anything that is startup, you should be able to find an expo that has a startup section and is cost effective. The thing is, the rules are the same. Even though you might have a smaller stand or not even have a stand, you might just have a table or a space, it's still the same. The rules of exhibiting are still the same. So go out there. If you're a startup, go out there, find these expos, and do your research. Do your research first, and then see if they've got a little startup section. Because I can tell you now that even though all these people go to come and sit, they have a look at the big stands and they love the big stands and they get the free coffee and the free everything, and they sit at the stands, but they're actually coming to have a look at what the little guys are doing and what's coming up. Right.
Checking the
So,
competition.
yes. So it's the guy, and we're talking, if you're especially in tech, it's people who seed funding and things like that, backers turn up to those shows to see what they can do.
One thing that has recently surprised me, and maybe I just assumed people understood this better, but I'm finding that a lot of people don't know the difference between selling the features and selling the benefits. And especially when you're at a trade show,
Yeah,
you could say, this iPhone, it's got 25 megabytes and the antenna rate. People don't
yeah,
care about that. How does
no,
that solve my problem? So benefits, what's in it for me?
yeah,
That's, you really have to answer that. So
yeah.
I'm sure you find people, maybe even companies that are seasoned, that have been around, and you're dealing with their marketing and sales team, and maybe they don't know, they don't understand that they need to sell the benefits and not just the features.
Uh, this is a prime example. Okay, I like graphics. I like clean graphics. So when you see an exhibition stand, I've seen some exhibition stands where there's so and my well, I first started in pharma. Okay, so there's a lot of tech, a lot of technical information that they put in there, disclaimers and all that kind of information. And then you walk along and you see other trade shows and they've got different graphics and you see all these pretty pictures and stuff. And then you've got, oh, so the iPhone has this much gig and this. And I'm like, you know what? This is what it should say. The iPhone makes my life easy, right? Because you're telling them, or you're showing that, and you're going to use a picture that is showing that person having an easy life. And that's what you want to do. You want to give that person an experience with your exhibition stand with a nice graphic, beautiful picture of what the outcome would be and the actual outcome. You are going to be less stressed because you bought my product. Your skin is going to look beautiful because you bought my product. This is what's going to happen to you if you buy my product. So, keep it simple, a nice graphic, a great message, no clutter.
When you get designs, I would assume you probably pull more things out than put things in.
I do. My client I'm working with in Atlanta, uh, so he's never done an exhibition ever, and I said to him, "Let me coach you through it because you will be amazed at how many little things that you don't think of that once you get to site will snowball and you turn into a blubbering mess and go, oh, I can't. I'm so tired. I can't sell." And I said to him about graphics and furniture and the placement of furniture. And I said, your graphic is going to be at a certain height, right? Because everything else is going to get blocked out underneath. So you're only going to do it 3 meters high and 3 meters wide. So anything that's under that graphic, like a table or your feet or whatever it's going to be, is not being blocked out. And he's like, I didn't realize that. And I said, yes. And guess what? Attendees like to travel a certain way in a trade show. And they come in the front door and they tend to go left, right? And they miss all the stands at the front. They miss the ones at the front here. And they'll go and they'll walk up the middle of the aisles and they'll like congregate in the middle of the show. They love it. Being in the middle of the show, that's the best stand.
So
And
get
you
in the
need,
middle.
I know, so you need to make sure that your graphics, when they're walking through, if you've got a stand that's not in the ideal position, you need to make sure your graphics are seen when they're walking up or walking back. And they tend to walk in like a sphere type of thing, like not in a circle and go up and down like this. They tend to walk like that in a sphere.
Wow. I had no idea. I
Mm.
had no idea. What about being near the food? Does that help out?
Okay.
Because you get a lot of traffic.
Yeah, you do get a lot of traffic. Um, yes and no. It depends on where it is. If it's right out the back, people will tend to, buy their food and move back towards and you have a look. have a look at a floor plan next time, and have a look at how all the big stands are usually in the middle. And that's the reason why, because they all gravitate to the middle. Yes, if you can't afford to be in the middle, by all means, be in an area where people are congregating, like food. There might be a seminar to the side. Don't book stands right on the back wall or the side walls or the front walls. It doesn't work. They just get bypassed. So if you are in those positions, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to get off your stand, make sure it's nice and clean, get off your stand and go into the crowds and start talking to people, because that's what you want. You want them to know, hey, I've got a stand here. This is what I do. Da 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 da. Why don't you come back and check it out?
And don't you love it when you pass by a stand and it's three people who were voluntold to be there Saturday, and three people
Yeah.
are sitting in their chair staring at their phone. Meanwhile, that's a $16,000
That's
investment
right.
by the
That's
company.
exactly right.
I'm always calculating when I look at stuff. I'm like, ooh,
Oh yeah.
oh, that's expensive.
Yeah,
My
that's
whole
right.
marketing budget for the year, just blown, just blown.
And this is the thing. It's so expensive, but guess what? The return on investment is huge,
That's
because everyone that's at that show is a warm lead. Do you know how hard it is to get a warm lead?
right. Very,
Extremely hard.
very
So hard. You know, so if you're at a trade show, I'm talking to your listeners now. If you're at a trade show, I want you to do one thing for me: follow up those leads, get those email addresses. And you know what? If it's B2B, get their phone numbers and ring them.
Your consultee in Atlanta, I would assume would he be the person that would go himself, or is he going to
He's,
send a
yes, he's one man band. And this is what I like. I like the one person band. I like it because I want to help them understand that, this is not it is stressful. Don't get me wrong. It's stressful time, but I want to set them up for success. And I think, I know uh, he will be okay. And he's so excited because he's like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, that's right. And you don't have to pay for that. You don't have to pay for that. You can do this yourself. So yeah, it's the smaller companies the smaller businesses I'm looking for, because I'm a small business. Okay. And I pride myself in being a small business. I'm not a big corporate person, but I want people to succeed. I want small businesses to succeed, because at the end of the day, it's the small businesses that create, make the world go round, not these massive big businesses.
And of course, it's easy to spend 10 grand on a display. Very, very
Mm,
easy. You can do
yeah,
that very quickly.
yeah.
Um, but the vendors, the people that are going to buy the display from you, they need to realize that that's not the only, because they're prepping for that one trade show, but there's and I didn't understand this until I worked with Sinorama. There's a lot of other things they can do with that booth display. It doesn't just go in the closet after the
Mm.
show. What do you recommend people, how they maximize the use of all of that gear and everything that they just purchased?
So basically, if you've got a number of trade shows you can go to, you can do a reusable stand. And the one thing I do like about exhibitions is that you have to think about how to make things to fit together and then to pack down. And that's the big thing, is that once you've got a stand, you can have a stand for up to 5 years, long as you can crate it properly and it's made properly. It's a modular piece of equipment, and you can put it into different configurations. That's if you've got a number of trade shows that you want to go to. Okay, if it's a one-off, same thing. I've got a client who just does a one-off, and I pack it down. We put it up, we pack it down, but we have a modular system, a framing system, where we can change the graphics so it looks different every time. Okay, and that's only a 3x3 or a ten by 10 in American terms. So, you know, if it's made properly, if it's modular, and that's another thing. When you pay a custom stand builder, that's what we do. We go, okay, we can pack this into here and here. We can make this into this, and we can put it into another configuration, and that's what we get paid to do.
And they could get more mileage out of that as
Ah,
well if outside of
absolutely.
a trade show. Like we,
Oh
when I
yeah.
was in San Antonio, I was going to a lot of charity events, like a
Mm-hmm.
charity dinner, or and
Yep.
there were exhibitions there too. So it, in a
Yeah.
way, I mean, there was a trade show aspect to it, and there's some non-standard ways to take that same equipment and set up
Oh
and
yeah.
charity events. And I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities to use that, the investment of that, to once again get more names. And even though that may or may not be your demographic you're speaking to, that's more branding. Like
That is
if you're
branding.
setting that down in an environment where it's not necessarily your target, but you're still getting the brand out there, you could still potentially harvest some emails.
Oh yes, you can. So you've got an event, and it's one of your clients, and they want, invite you to come to their event, and you can set up your just the back wall with graphics. You can do that. Yeah, this is the thing. It's a modular piece of equipment, and you can set it up wherever you can. But there's rules about setting places up outside and indoors, so you've just got to be careful.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the name of your company?
Okay, so I it's 44 projects is a 44 is a lucky number for me,
Okay. All right.
and it's a personal thing. When I was in high school, I had a locker 44, so it's just evolved into that. And so I thought, I'll just use that. This is the first year I've had a website, so I usually get referrals, word of mouth. So that's why I've got a website now. I've put myself out there. My actual logo is me riding my scooter. I ride a scooter with all my tools in the back. So it was
Now,
a personal. I just set it up as a personal name and a logo because I'm a little bit of a lone wolf, and I just like to do things my own way
what do
sometimes.
you, yeah, absolutely. No, that sounds good. What is your best strategy as far as, because obviously you've reached out to somebody in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, and other areas. What what platforms are you seeing the most where your time invested is paying off the most?
Uh, in Facebook groups, I find Facebook groups really good at the moment. Instagram, and both of those work for me quite well. I get contacted through both those. Not so much LinkedIn at the moment because I haven't really pushed to LinkedIn. I, what I find is that LinkedIn has a lot of noise at the moment, and it's I can't cut through that noise at the moment for some reason, but that's okay. I'm as I said, I'm looking for the smaller companies, the one person band startups, and I want to look after those types of companies and businesses. Contacting them, people on posts in Facebook as well, in groups, is the best thing that I've done.
There's a group that I belong to for product inventors because
Mm.
again, my whole thing is about the very beginning of the
Yeah.
process to start from scratch. Like I hate
Yep.
my job. What am I going to do? And I did I say that I always say that because everybody's had a job. I think everybody's had a job they probably hate and wanted to get away from it. But a few episodes ago, we had an inventor who created a, a blade,
Knife
a knife. I'm sorry, the Nulu,
and
and he started. I started tracking his social media after he was a guest, and he's setting up the booth and he's showing people the knife, and he's got some mock-ups, and that's really great when you have a physical product that you can show it. And our the hometown that I'm from, Louisville, we have a huge convention center, monstrous, and that's where the state
yeah,
fair is. And I don't know why I love the state fair. So when I'm back home, I always try to catch the fair. It's
yeah,
usually in August. And I notice people at that one, and of course there's animals, there's everything
yeah.
going on. People trying to sell things as well. the most kinetic activity is usually where people are, where I see people. So there's a lot of motion. It's just like here on YouTube. If you want to catch
Yep.
people's attention, you got to move around a lot, which I'm not like that. I can sit there and watch somebody just delivering information. But these
Yeah.
days, you've got to be constantly moving.
Yeah. Moving around.
But it's always somebody with a knife, showing a
Mm.
pan, those people that are master demonstrators, they're
Yeah.
because some of these people are just tire kickers when they go. They're not going to spend any money. The
Yeah.
parking and the entry was probably their maximum budget for the day, and they're just looking to be entertained. But there is some value at having something exciting kinetically happening at the trade show. And I know that a lot of professional magicians actually
Mm.
and professional performers get hired by companies
Yeah.
to staff the booth to draw
Yeah.
people in, and then
Yeah.
they've got the closer right there. So you
Yeah.
you probably have seen people employ that strategy as well.
Oh, absolutely. We've had the DeLorean on one of our stands. They have I've had the last one I did was a robotic coffee maker, and that just drew people in. They loved it, absolutely loved it. Yes, and the professional salespeople that they bring in that man the booth. There's a lot of them, and sometimes you don't even know. You don't even know that they're the hired help. It really is,
Wow.
yeah, that they that trained and that, yeah, you're like, you pitch really well. Oh no, I don't work for the company. I'm being hired.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's
That
a you see a lot. You'll see a lot of things, a lot of tricks, a lot of smoke and mirrors. And but that's what trade shows are. You got 3 days, or maybe 2 days, or one day to really produce a something that's going an experience that's going to sell.
at trade shows, you might have somebody that comes with 128 of their package of whatever they
Mm,
sell, and they need to offload those.
yeah. So
And
this is another tip. So if it's B2B is a different
Mhm.
kettle of fish. Okay. But if there's an element of the general public is that comes to your show, if it's B2C show and you have product, at the end, what most people do is go, I've got to get rid of this because I don't want to take it back with me. I'm going to discount it, discount it, discount it. If you're a person that goes to the B2C shows, stick around in the end, right at the end, because you get some really good deals.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
um, the B2B is a different kettle of fish.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah, B2B is more about you're going to do that $20,000 deal maybe weeks later, and you might, and of
Yeah,
course that company, they might have to
yeah,
contact them. The bigger the deal, the more the contact. That discussion may go on for
yeah.
3 months if it's a big enough project. If it's an engineering firm and it's a building,
I,
they might be courting that prospect for a year.
Oh, absolutely. I've done defense shows, air shows, and land warfare, and the gaming shows, and absolutely everything. Medical devices and things. So, and there's a lot of government people that turn up to those shows as well. So they don't. A sale doesn't just happen on a stand. They do, but if it's a big product, it's a big item or service, then it's a bit different story.
What industries are you telling people if they're in this particular industry, you're saying to them, you really need to get into like you're in that line of business, you definitely need to get into the trade show. Where are you seeing the most traction?
Cosmetics. Cosmetics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's big. It's a big billion-dollar industry. There's a trade show called Cosmopro. It's in Milan. It's in South America. It's in North America. It's massive, and you should see some of the stands that they have there, and the amount of people that go. It is massive. So if you're in the beauty industry, cosmetology, they really look at doing trade shows. Absolutely look at doing trade shows. Organic foods, natural foods. I do the Naturally Good Expo. I have a stand there. I look after a client there, and and that's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Have a look at those kind of shows. Shows like the Arnold Schwarzenegger show. he has an expo. I'm not quite sure if that happens again, but they're massive as well, with the protein powders and all that, those products and services, gym equipment. There's a whole range of, and niche markets, the smaller ones. I tell you what, if anyone wants to reach out to me and ask me, I'll think of a couple and I'll let you know.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you said cosmetics and nutrition because those are both very high profit industries. It's like what,
They are,
600% profit and it could
mm,
be, up to
yeah,
1500. With and our the audience might not be as familiar with this, but there's a lot of white labeling going on, which in other
mm,
words, you're basically if I came up with a let's say a concealer, to hide this,
yeah,
you know, I could the product is already out there. I could have
mm,
somebody just put my logo on it. So when
yeah.
you're talking about cosmetics, are you talking about people that are formulating from the ground up, or are you seeing mostly people white labeling? In other words, it's really manufactured by somebody else and they're putting their brand on it.
Oh, look, I don't. So that part of their business, I don't see, and I don't ask. I mind what I see is that when we do beauty shows, that's what we call them here, is that there's a lot of products that look and do the same thing. What I've noticed though is at that Naturally Good Expo that it's a ground up. They're building
Ah,
their product, and it's a ground up. So if it's that show to me is one of the best shows in Australia, and it's growing and it's growing. And they have really good products, and it's grassroots. It's not coming from a manufacturer in overseas and just being labeled with their brand. So yeah, look out for those smaller boutique shows. Really can elevate your standing in that industry. And that's the thing. When you want to do exhibitions, it means that you are serious about your company. You're serious about your product and service. You're playing with the big boys. You're next to the big boys. It legitimizes you.
what's one
Just remember
thing
that.
when clients come to you, what's one thing you wish they knew before they reached out to you?
I wish they knew that just booking a stand and going, I'm just going to be at this trade show and I'm going to get heaps of leads and I'm going to do this and this and this, and not realizing that they have to set themselves up for success. Just booking a trade show, just booking a booth doesn't mean to say that you're going to get leads, you're going to sell your product or service. You need to do the planning, the marketing beforehand. You need to put your booth, get a booth that's in a good location, and the layout has to be good, and you need to know your pitch down pat.
Tell us about your website.
Oh, my website. So I use a my website is basically a journey from here. We do exhibitions and we help you, do exhibitions successfully, exhibiting successfully. And I wanted to show people that, and I know this is what happens. They're stressed. They don't know what they're doing. They're forgetting to book things. They're paying extra money. And I wanted to show people that it uh, the um, the way exhibitions happen is that you get stressed and you get disappointed. And then I wanted to show how I can help you not be stressed and disappointed and spend a lot of money. And
And
then
it's
these I've offered a few things to help you on the way, because you're all on a budget. We all on a budget. When somebody says to you, uh, one of the things I don't like with some clients, they withhold their budget. Everyone knows what they're going to spend at a trade show. And if your budget is only 10,000, but you want a stand that's two and a half, $250,000, it's not going to work. So I design and I deliver to your budget. And one of the things you need to know is your budget, because without your budget, you don't know your ROI.
and you've got a great giveaway on your site. Can you give us the URL for your site and tell me about the
Yeah. So my site is just www.44projects.com. That's 40 FORTYFOUR projects with an S.com. And I on the 7th of December, I am doing a 1 hour webinar to go through the whole process of exhibiting at a trade show. And I can guarantee you that you could probably walk away with 3 things that you're going to do differently, and that will make your life easier when you're exhibiting. So come along. I think I'll provide a link on my website, and I'll give Robert a link, and yeah, we'll go from there. But please, if you've got any questions, you can also email me or contact me on my Facebook page or Instagram.
And you've got six essential tasks. There's a downloadable
Yes.
PDF that they can
Yes.
just put in. Can you just quickly, as we're wrapping up, tell us about about that?
Okay. The first thing you need to do is read your contract, right? Read your contract, because when COVID hit, it was disaster for a lot of people, a lot of exhibitors, a lot of stand builders. Some people closed their doors because of it. I want you to read your contract. I want you to pull out all the specific dates and the deadlines. And that's the main thing that you want to do. The first thing you do is read your contract and do that. And then I give you tips on how to, what to look for, on what to do at different stages of the planning process and the installation, dismantle, and that's what that PDF is all about.
Because you want to preserve that investment. If you spend all that money, you don't want to just crash it into the box and take it out a year from now and go, oh no.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that surprise.
I know, that's right. I remember there was this was a biannual show, and these guys they had this stand, and it was just atrocious. It was always put up. And this is another thing, you can store your stand, or you can store it with a stand builder, but they chose to store it themselves, and it was just full of dust constantly, because it was just shrink wrapped in plastic. And when we took it down, we said to them, we need to see it before we put it up, because it might be an issue. No, we're just going to send it straight to site. They send it straight to site. We pour the plastic on it. It was absolutely putrid with stuff all over it. We had to paint the thing, and then it cost them more money, because I had to bring painters in to paint. So it's the little things, right?
That's right. Be organized. Be organized. Well, thank you so much, Maree. I appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thank you, Robert. It's been wonderful. Thank you to your listeners for watching the video. I'm really happy to be here. And if you have questions, if you've got a floor plan and you want to email me and say, Maree, I'm about to spend 10 grand. Can you tell me what stand I should be booking? Happy to do that.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you for joining us on the Free Time Mastermind podcast. I'm your host, Robert Gaines. To support the channel, please click like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode. The book Scintilla, The Ultimate Guide to Generating Business Ideas, Products, and Services, is now available on Amazon. It's available as an ebook, softcover, and hardcover. Please find the link to the Amazon page in the description, as well as other links relevant to this episode.